In a world where the market is dominated by basically the blonde, the tin hi-fis, the final audio, the moondrops, at under $100, it's actually a very interesting idea that the top of the food chain is dominated by something very, very obscure, such as the HZSound hard mirror. When people ask me from until I heard these, what is the best under 100, I would usually gravitate towards the Tin T2s. They are very excellent for under $100. In my opinion, they're better than the Blonde 03s, the Blonde 01s, the Bassos. I don't know about Tin T4s. I think I would prefer the tuning of the Tin T4s, but the driver they use here is a bit too slow, I guess, for my preference. But the HZSound hard mirror is a huge, huge competitor against the Tin T2s. I don't know if they're actually better or not. I couldn't really say. It kind of depends. It's actually a true toss-up, I guess, if you can say that. And it's actually huge for me to say that, because the Tin T2 to me is better than the Cable. I believe it's better than the Tin T2 Plus. I think the sheer amount of soundstage and detail retrieval and also the transients is also better in the Tin T2s. And don't even mention the SSR and SSP's garbage. This is what the SSR should have been. A bright neutral type of sound with it's only a bit, probably a bit shoutiness. They're actually, the Moondrop's actually looking for a bit more shouty type of tuning. That's what's happened to the, that's what's happening to the, what do you call that? The Blessing 2s, also to the, to a certain extent, probably the KXXS, though not as much. So yeah, it's a bit shouty in the 2K region. It's brighter than neutral. It has a very, very excellent soundstage in the depth section, I guess, depth department, and it's a bit sharp in the treble. It's a bit sharp, but it's overall a very excellent IM with an excellent tonality and excellent coherency and technicalities. So that's the TLDR. Okay, let's get to the specifics. For build quality, when you look at this IM, you don't think of this a $60 IM. I think this should be something like $200 type of build quality. The shape is very, very nice. It looks very beautiful. The cable is amazing. It's actually silver colored. The box says it's, by the way, this is the box. It looks very, very obscure Chinese type of boxes. It doesn't even, it even has the wrong type. It should be, the box says it would have a mic on, but there isn't any mic here. So yeah, very, very Chinese type of garbage. Yeah, the insides kind of look like the K-Bear Tri-i4 type of boxes, Tri-Audios, and the case is actually pretty amazing when you look. It feels sturdy. It's actually a hard case. They give you the standard white type of ear tips. They also give you these, I guess, they are one of the better fake Sony hybrids I've ever had. Actually, what I have here is the real genuine Sony hybrids, but these are the LL size they don't give you. It's really rare actually. but they do think that the Sony hybrids makes better sound with these, so, and I pretty agree that the Sony hybrid is what I prefer on these, to tone out a bit of the treble and to elevate a bit of the sub bass, I guess. They also give you a small foam tip, if you can see it here. Yeah, but nobody cares. And there's also things like these, like, and the filter replacement there. So that's it. The build is fantastic. The cable is fantastic. The final audio A8000 design is also fantastic. I guess the fit is great. I have nothing problematic here in the fit department. So yeah, the sound. The sound is. Let's get to the bass, okay? The bass is there. The bass exists. It's very articulate, I guess, where it exists. It doesn't really dig down to the sub bass. It doesn't have that type of bass shelf if you're looking for, but it is a very natural presentation. So it exists. It delivers quite nice punch, I guess, and a somewhat acceptable rumble and texture, though it is not forward at all. It's a very natural bass. It's great for this tuning, of course, if you're looking for a natural type of sound. So yeah, if you're looking for a V shape, this is definitely not a V shape. It has a decent type of resolution in the mid bass and upper bass, I guess. It doesn't really have that type of bass, the deepness of sub bass depth, I guess. It's the simple way of saying it. The sub bass is not really prominent here. It's not something like the EX1000 that can be linear and produce an excellent sub bass like that. Like, I don't think any IM does that. So yeah. The mid-range is actually very good here. I don't hear a lot of imbalance. Everything sounds very proper. It's a bit shouty in the 2K region, though it's not the 16 or 18 dB jump like you have in the SSR, the SSP. It's a very acceptable type of shoutiness. It's not that insane type of shoutiness. It's kind of like the Blessing 2s, I guess, type of shoutiness. What the mid's also a very resolving mid-range. It had the definition is on point, I guess. It's not very well defined, but it is well expected for something under $100. I wouldn't expect more. The treble, I think it's a bit too much in the treble proper region, especially in the 5.6K region. I would prefer them to be a little bit toned down there in the sibilance. So, and also the sibilance region. So I would prefer a little bit toned down type of treble, but for a lot of people, these would probably not be as offensive. Yeah. I don't think the treble is a very huge problem. But if it exists, if a problem exists, it definitely would be the treble, because the bass and the mid range is pretty good. It can be a bit shouty though. Yeah. So, but hearing that, like, it seems like it's just a natural IM. It doesn't really say something very special. But first of all, looking for something natural at this price range, naturally tuned, I guess, in this price range, is a very small market. If you're looking for something a bit V-shaped or like neutral at bass boost, you can get something like the Blonde Brothers or the Ibassos or the T4 is kind of a bit like Harmonish tuned. Like the final E2Ks or like anything else, but not the SSP and the SSR because they're garbage. So this is actually a very nice contender if you're looking for something a little bit brighter than neutral, but still maintain that neutral-ish tonal balance, I guess, with a dynamic driver timbre that is also very good. Oh, by the way, you can also get the final E1K, but that is a bit mute the treble region for my liking. Then, other than that, the technicalities here are actually very amazing for the price they are. They don't sound like a $50 IM, like $49 IM. They don't sound like that. Definitely not. They sound like a $200 IM. You basic I would, if I don't know the price, I would at least put these for about $200, I guess. That's how amazing they are. I wouldn't even put the blondes or these two over that price. These really impress me. The soundstage, while not as wide as something like the 10T2s, they are definitely a bit more, what do you call it, deep, I guess. It has a soundstage depth. It's like a very 3D type of sound, which is actually very amazing for this price point. It's kind of rare for me to see that. I can see when I listen to a lot of soundtracks, like movie soundtrack, like anime soundtracks, and I can hear a lot of subtle details around me. It doesn't always be a linear type of soundstage. It's not like a hallway type of imaging. That's also for the imaging. Imaging here and here is very good. However, in the middle, it's a bit in the center imaging is not very articulate as much as the left and right imaging. Those, they are still pretty average. So great average. So they're still amazing, but yeah. Separation here is also surprisingly good for a single dynamic driver. I would usually the stereotypical dynamic driver don't have a very good separation qualities. Usually hybrids have the edge over that, but not here, I guess. It's very pleasant. The separation here is very clear, I guess. So you can really hear, you can actually see, it's very physical, the sound of subtle details in the mix. The detail retrieval here is also better than expected. It's on this table. What has the best detail retrieval is definitely the 10T2s. But with the HZSound hard mirror, it's just as good, or just a very, very minor behind the 10T2s. They are almost identical, I guess, in micro details. Some of the upper treble type, upper treble region, probably the 10T2s would still win, but they are definitely very, very boosted there. Not so much in the HZSound hot mirror, though the bass resolution is better on the HZSound. So yeah, it depends on what your priorities, what are you actually looking for. So I think this is actually a very splendid IM indeed. When comparing these, to these IMs, I would compare them. I would say that they are. If you are sensitive to the upper treble of the 10T2s, but you like the detail and you like the transient speed and the natural, a little bit brightish. The 10T2 is not bright in my opinion, but this is a little bit brightish sound. Or you like the HiFiMan RE400, but you would want a bit more detail and technicalities. I would like to recommend you the HZSound, I guess. Comparing them to the Blonde brothers, the Blonde 03 and the Blonde 01s, the HZSound is the hard mirror is I keep calling them HZSound. The hard mirror is far better IM than these in terms of all technical region. Though if you're looking for that type of sub bass bloom, I guess, or the boost in the sub bass, or like the bass, actually the bass, whole bass region boost, these two would be better. But for general IM quality, which one I would think is the better IM, the objectively, I guess. When I'm talking about technicalities, I mean it's objectively better. It's the HZSound, I guess, hard mirror. But the tuning, kinda like, it's up to you then. Against a iBasso IT00, I mentioned them to have a very wide and expansive soundstage. These, while the instruments are big, like huge here, they don't sound as wide nor as grand as something like the iBasso IT00s. The IT00s somehow have that type of huge sound that is very difficult, very difficult to recreate for these cheap prices. Though I think the resolution, the tonal balance, especially in the vocals, is better in the HZSound. Though if you're actually only looking for a V-shaped type of sound, then the IT00 would be better for you. But for imaging and detail, I think the HZSound has it. And also the tonal balance. Against the RE400, this is actually very fantastic. I don't know why these got off the hype, probably because of the lack of bass. But though the bass is very lacking in the RE400, it has actually better, more neutral sound than the HZSound hard mirror. Though in technical department, of course, the HZSound is better at all fronts. The RE400 is definitely not an IM. The HiFiMan RE400 is definitely not an IM to scoff at. It's very small, it's very portable. So you can stick it in your ear and you wouldn't notice anything. But it's fantastic in sound quality. However, when comparing the HZSound to the RE400, it kind of depends. If you're looking for that neutral tonality, then the RE400 is actually better than the HZSound hard mirror. But if you're more edging towards the balance between tonality and technicality, the HZSound hard mirror is actually better for me. And if you want any bass, I guess the HZSound hard mirror is better. So yeah, against the T4s, I actually prefer just a little bit the tuning of the T4s rather than the HZSound hard mirror. It does have a bit wider soundstage, or almost the same, I guess. But the technical aspect, more to the transient speed, to the detail retrieval, I think the HZSound hard mirror is far better than the T4s. So yeah, the bass is definitely more elevated here. The mid-range is, I think it's more natural sounding here and a bit brighter here. The T2s, I did a lot of comparison to the T2s, but not but more to the technical type aspects, not the tonal aspects. The here is a bit, the T2 is a bit more neutral, I guess. It's not really boosting the treble proper. It's more boosted in treble air, but it doesn't really affect the tonal balance. The bass is more textured here, though it's a bit faster here, faster in the 10T2s. So yeah, it has a bit more punch in the HZSound. I think they're a bit more equal type of bass, but I would say that the HZSound is more articulate than the 10T2s. However, the soundstage width is wider on the 10T2s, though the depth is better on the HZSound hard mirror. Against the final E2K, the soundstage is very similar, though I would say I would give a slightly advantage to the E2K. However, the detail retrieval, the tonal balance, I think it's the E2K is actually very well tuned. For the boosted bass they have, I would prefer them to have less bass. So the overall tonal balance, I would give it to the HZSound hard mirror, though it's a bit brighter. I guess it's a bit brighter. Keep in mind if you're looking for a very balanced IM. It's not here actually. It's extremely balanced IM. It's not here. And transients, like the driver speed, I guess the definition, the note definition is better also in the HZSound hard mirror. So it's very fantastic. It's a very fantastic IM. Comparing them to the DQSM Hermit, this is a hype as fuck IM, and I don't understand why, because they're hot garbage. They're good at soundstage width. I don't think they're that detailed. When people saying that, oh my god, their detail is very amazing, I don't think they are. I think they're just treble boosted. However, their micro details seems a bit lacking, in my opinion. They have the type of V-shaped type of punch, weird V-shaped type of punch. I don't know if they're actually V-shaped or not. Maybe they're a bit mid-bass boosted. There's maybe a bit bump in the mid-bass, but they don't really dig down to the sub-bass, not like the HZSound. They're very bright. They make the HZSound sound dark, comparing with the DQSM hard mirror, the DQSM Hermit. Fuck, the DQSM Hermit's trebles just go fuck all. Superior, inferior. So yeah, that's it for the review. Hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to watch Jason's video. I'm gonna link it. I don't know if I'm not gonna link it. Just browse the channel. See you next time. Godspeed.